You're listening to the AfterBuzz TV Network, now the largest new media platform on the web, and your number one source for after-show entertainment.
Very good, Chief Johnson.
The AfterBuzz Studios in Los Angeles, California. Presented by Maria Menounos and streaming live thanks to Akamai Technologies. This is AfterBuzz TV's Justified After Show. We'll break down tonight's episode and get you all the latest news and gossip. And now, another post-game wrap-up show for your favorite TV show. It's AfterBuzz TV's Justified After Show.
And welcome, everybody. Thank you for joining us for another AfterBuzz TV After Show for Justified, the Season 5 finale. I'm John Comerford, joined in the studio by Tamara Bird.
Hey, everybody.
Steve Bottomley.
Hi.
Matt Lieberman.
Hello.
And on the guest couch, our very special guest star, Jesse Lucan.
Hello. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, you look much improved since the last time we've seen you. How are you feeling?
I'm feeling good. I'm feeling good. Do clean bill of health.
That's good.
Awesome.
You know, when we saw you being zipped into the body bag, I didn't think that you would ever see you alive, but it's good to see you back.
Hey, man, it's great to be back. It's great to be out of that body bag.
We'll be talking about the show. You'll be chiming in from time to time, and then afterwards we'll talk specifically to you about your experience on the show, what else you got going on, your other show on CW right now.
Absolutely,
Star-Crossed as well.
Star-Crossed.
So let's get into this particular, how season finale, we've wrapped up a lot of things, but more importantly, we set up the whole arc for the final season, I would say.
I'm so excited. This season, it's been it's still a great show, but it's been a muted affair. It was a quieter
Indeed.
season than we've had in the past, but it's put us in this position to have what feels like the story Graham Yost has wanted to tell since the first season.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I totally agree with you.
Yeah.
Well, I think he's bookending it with the two guys,
Yeah.
Boyden.
But also getting back into the Ava Raylan relationship,
Yeah. Yes.
opening that back up. There's just a lot of exciting things going on, and we got some major reveals from Raylan himself about his own character and his first kill, talking about the arc of violence and his relation to it over the course of the series. To see that now opens up the possibilities for a very exciting discussion and a dissection of his character in the final season.
And also speaks to what Winona says, which we've talked about many times before, about why he's the angriest man she
she's ever
knows.
known,
Because
yeah.
you can see what he came out of, especially because of Arlo. But I wanted to specifically start out with Jimmy, because obviously you're sitting right here with us. We have to talk about your untimely demise.
Poor
Yeah.
Jimmy.
Yeah.
Well, I'll say that it was not as untimely as I had been expecting when I got introduced on the show.
Yeah.
Right.
What did you think when you first got hired?
Oh, I thought I was dead in 2 episodes.
Because you came on the show in season 3, is
Season
that right?
3, yeah, beginning of 3. I was introduced with another character, and that guy got killed in the next one. So I don't know if I just won a coin flip or what happened.
But they never talked to you about why?
About why
they keep you. We liked what you did.
Oh, no.
You just, said,
They
you just
knew.
kept getting called back saying, okay.
Yeah, it was really, I'm eternally grateful to this show because it's the show that really kind of gave me a career and
Sure.
opened up a ton of doors for me. And at the time that I booked it, I was so off the boat and green and everything like that it was just like, I'm grateful for anything.
Right.
I'm gonna go. I'll mop the floors or something after everyone's done.
Right.
And I'm guessing if you had known the show, you were likely to think that, oh, well, I'm not long for this show. They'll kill everybody
Totally.
off. So,
Yeah,
okay, so that's what you're
one
thinking.
avoids henchmen and a tertiary henchman at best.
Did you have a name?
Yeah, I had a name. Well, the first audition that I went in for was
Yeah.
a character that got killed in the first episode of season 3. It was a pizza delivery guy. And I was born in Cincinnati, and I've spent some time in Kentucky.
very close
and
to
so,
Kentucky, of course.
yeah, right across the river. And we go to Kentucky every year, Carrollton, Kentucky. And I went into this audition and just totally laid it on with the BS. Like, I'm from Kentucky. It was like the deepest, most over-the-top accent, and just played like that was the guy that I am. And I was lying to the casting director,
Of course.
it's Cammie Patton, and I love her, and now she knows and everything. But it was like I just did, when you're starting out, you do whatever you can to book the job. And so I laid it. I was like, yes, ma'am, I'm from a little town, Carrollton, Kentucky. It's the frog capital of the world. 2,500 people, one stoplight. My family loves the show so much. Everybody in Kentucky loves the show. Just laying it on. Right. And I got a call. I was on hold for that role, and then I got a call later that said, you're not going to get that because they've got a role coming down the pike, and you're so authentic. They want to keep you for that.
Nice.
See,
Perfect.
lying works,
Lying.
kid.
It is the one job, and my mom was like, "Oh, don't you think you're going to get in trouble?" I was like, "No, I think that people will go, you were acting." It is the
Exactly.
one job where you know, lying in an interview is probably a good thing, or acting.
Yeah.
So no, I had no idea, and I, you know, it's just I knew eventually I was leaving in a body bag, and
Yeah, you did, but you didn't think it was going to be 2 seasons later, right?
didn't think it was going to be 2 seasons later. I definitely thought I was getting killed in the beginning of the season because Starcrossed was filming at the same time, and there was a whole big like back and forth.
You guys had to work out schedules.
had
and
to
all
work
that,
out
right.
schedules, and Graham kind of said, you know, if you're going to do that, there's a good chance you're not going to be around. And I said, look, I love you guys and I appreciate everything, and you know, I pray we can work it out as best we can. And he was wonderful.
Yeah.
Great.
And kept me around all season. So
So
when did you get a name, though? I mean, the first script, you didn't have a name, right?
The first script, there was a name.
There was a name. Okay,
It was,
I beg your
It was
pardon.
Jimmy.
Jimmy and Rip.
Okay.
Rip was the other guy.
All right.
Yeah.
Because you always know, you never
Now,
know if
that
you're
was-
coming back if you don't have a
You
name.
had mentioned this before we went up. That was when there was a showdown.
Yeah, it was a
where-
showdown. It kept growing. So it was Boyd, and that was Devil and Arlo came into the
right.
bar with Boyd to try to take Johnny's bar back. Johnny's the guy who was there that owned the bar had 2 henchmen that were kind of hiding amongst the bar patrons. They drew guns on Devil and Arlo. Then Boyd had his big cool moment reveal and said, "Well, have you met my friends?" And then it was me and Rip, and we pulled guns on them. So it was 6 guys with guns all on each other, and that's the
And
way
you were
it's
there
go.
thinking, I've got this one day gig, and I'm going to pull a gun. And
Yeah.
little did you know,
And then all of a sudden they said, "Hey,
you're crying
come
with
back next
guns to your
week."
head.
Come back. Yeah.
Now, can I ask you, since did you ever did you ever come up with a backstory? Did you ever talk to Walton or to the creators, or like, how did I wind up with this guy? Who am I?
Yeah, I did a little bit with one of the writers. There actually was a great scene one time that got cut, which was too bad. But it was Boyd and Jimmy talking about robbing a bank, and Jimmy, you know, who doesn't say much, just kind of sitting there asking, like, with all this knowledge about robbing banks. And then Boyd was like, "Shit, man, how many banks have you robbed?" And Jimmy goes, "I don't know, 6." And it's like, 6? And so we talked about it there, and just kind of like the way that Boyd, you know, he did it with Devil. He did it to a lesser extent with Johnny. It just kind of picks up wayward souls that are
Yeah.
looking for guidance or for a mentor in some
Yeah,
way.
exactly. A place to work, fit in.
Yeah,
That kind of thing.
yeah,
They're all
absolutely.
kind of like that. So,
Can we talk about your death scene?
yeah, that's what
Yeah.
I wanted to get to next.
Yeah.
bet.
So,
technical stuff as well.
Steve, I
Let's
pass
ask.
it off to you because you love the squibs so darn
So,
much. I'm
were you
sure you've got
excited?
15 squib
Yeah, were you
questions.
excited? You got to see everyone else that would come on, get layered up with squibs.
Yeah.
Where he was like, I get mine. I finally get my squib. Oh my
Well, I would say that yeah, it was a tough day. I mean, it was like 6 hours, you know,
Yeah,
in
and you're
that
all
chair,
wrapped up in tape.
wrapped up in tape,
For 6
then
hours.
putting the thing, crying. Yeah, that's the that's
Yeah,
the thing.
yeah, yeah.
When you're crying, you got to keep it at this like level up here because you don't want to go too high and just wait, you know, burn out, and then all of a sudden you're like, shit, I can't.
I got
cry.
nothing
Can't do
left.
it.
Yeah, you got nothing
But you
left.
have to stay in that place
But
all
you-
day.
yeah, you have to stay in that. You have to stay at the.
By the way, was that your choice or was that scripted?
That was my choice.
It was, okay.
Yeah, actually, I kind of thought that it was just like the scene called for "There is no hope."
Yeah,
there is no
kinda-
hope for either of us.
Yeah.
and I think when Boyd walks in, I think Jimmy thinks, you know, we're both dead, and this is it, and I'm sorry. For,
Yeah, see, that's what I was wondering. Was it not only I'm gonna die, but I let you down?
Yeah,
That's because that's,
what
what
it
I
felt
got.
like,
That's what
yeah.
it felt like to me. Was that what you were?
that is what I
That's what you're going for.
What I was going for. So
That,
thanks.
well, it worked.
You know, and I got to
Yeah.
say, it was really refreshing to see that because everyone in the show and in these types of shows, they go to their death, you know, bring it.
Kicking and
Yeah.
screaming. Yeah.
Or this is I'm
Fighting,
ready and
chest
everything.
out,
You don't
yeah.
get to see the guy just going, this sucks.
Yeah.
and you see everything you're not going to get to do. You see everything that this, and to have to sit there and think about that.
Well, and I
I don't-
think, yeah, and the entire time that Boyd's coming and Jimmy's
Yeah.
getting beat by this cartel, and you know, the other thing is Jimmy's kind of a kid.
Yeah.
You know, just kind of a
Yeah.
young, dumb kid that don't know any better other than
Yeah.
follow this guy.
Yeah, that's what I thought. Yeah.
So I mean, and you also think about, in any instance, you think about yourself in a situation. It's like, oh, I'm going to die in a little bit. I would probably be crying.
Yeah.
Yeah, especially if
But
you
you
know
weren't-
about it for quite a while.
All right, so,
there,
okay, so two
yeah.
technical questions in terms of the acting.
Yes.
How did you get there? Was it all sense memory, or did you pull any tricks? How did the tears flow?
It is like it's a weird thing, and I can only describe it as you need to get yourself in a place where you are feeling like overwhelmed at all times, and I was helped out by the fact that it was the last day.
Well, that's why I was wondering if you were going to use that because you're leaving.
Because I was leaving, yeah.
And
I was
so-
saying goodbye to everybody. And so
Exactly.
it was a genuine sadness of
Yeah.
saying goodbye. And we actually shot that on the last day of the whole season
Oh,
of
that's
everybody.
Oh, wow.
So everybody was saying goodbye to everybody.
Oh.
And it was this,
So that's great. The pump's already primed.
Well,
Yeah,
wait a
yeah,
minute.
yeah.
You were generally sad to say goodbye to the cartel guys.
those guys, they were sweet guys. They were very nice. And I had, the week before when in episode 12, when Jimmy is on the line with Boyd and he
Yeah.
just says,
Yeah.
and he kind of sets him up that he has to come in, and
Yeah.
I was able to pump a tear or two out there
Yeah.
too. It's just, I don't know. You watch like sad YouTube videos beforehand.
Absolutely,
and
you gotta
just,
get
like
that.
whatever
Absolutely.
Listen to
gets you
music,
emotionally.
right.
Yeah, you just kind of do that, and then you're in that like mode all day. And then and you're also a crazy actor because a couple of producers said they were going to come and say goodbye. Like
Yeah.
we had the rap party the week before, and I said, "I'm sorry if I am insane that day." And you're just like, "What happened to Jesse?" Because you're just like you sit there in a corner, and
Yeah.
you're like, "Oh yeah, hi."
Because you got to be able to access it
Yeah.
like that.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
But
that-
but
go
they
ahead.
work with, but Walton is the king of like if you walked on set and didn't know what was going on, you'd be like, that's an insane person.
Mm-hmm.
Like, keep him away from me. Because the way he preps for scenes is he kind of is in a corner, cussing loudly, screaming at things. And I mean, it's brilliant and it works wonders for him.
Obviously,
but it's, yeah. And I kind of took cues from that, I think, because my first gig.
Yeah, nice. That's a good personal
Yeah.
Yeah. I called it acting school. It was like a 3-year free acting school.
As a first gig. Damn.
Yeah.
The other technical thing I wanted to was specifically about the squib. They set up. I mean, obviously it was under the duct tape, so I'm sure that.
Yeah, it's under the
Made
duct
it
tape,
easy.
and then it's like there's like a I don't know, like an ace bandage that's on top
Were you
of it or
prepped
something
for
like
it when
that.
it happened?
Was
I mean,
it-
did,
right,
they, did
it's-
you do a practice one or did you?
Oh
was-
no
yeah, that's it.
Yeah, because it blows up a bunch of blood. and
Right,
blows,
no,
the
yeah,
whole
just-
thing. Yeah, no, they just go. It smarts a little bit. It's kind of like a
Yeah,
jab of the
Paintball
thing,
or
and then they
something,
do
yeah.
it again.
But did
and then they do it
anybody
again.
prep you for that? Did they say, okay, you're going to feel this, or did you not know?
Well,
Or
yeah,
they-
our stunt guy Ben, he's like, he's just this wonderful, wonderful guy that's been in the business for 40 years and just like a tough cowboy. And so he kind of comes up and he's like, you feel a little bit, but you're gonna be fine. And I'm like, okay, Ben, it's I just totally trust you. He's like, yeah, you're fine. Do you want another pad? You don't need one. And you're like, what are you gonna say? Yes, please give me
Oh,
another
please.
pad.
Thanks, Ben.
Well, you are a crier, so maybe you did.
So I did the fact that you didn't die right away, and we can talk about that. Was there a discussion about okay, so what happens post bullet? I
Right.
mean, because there's a huge opportunity for all kinds of stuff, and I love the fact that it was played just. This is it.
Yeah.
It didn't happen right away, and you still had this.
Well, I think
moments.
I think
Suffer
that
through it.
yeah, and there's what I was hoping we'd go for, and there was a discussion of it, and I mean even like technical little things of like how does your body flail
Yeah.
as you're like gasping
Yeah,
for breath,
because
and
you
things
could
like
get
that.
really weird.
Yeah, sure. But I think that the what we wanted and Adam Arkin, the director, wanted was just a connection between Jimmy and
Yeah,
Boyd. And
that clearly was, and even the callback to it because that one way he kind of leaves them and lands on you after you're already dead, just to remind us.
Yes.
Yeah.
That was a good shot.
It was a creepy choice to have that sitting in there.
Yeah,
I'll tell you on that.
ahead.
This is not something I would admit on the day, but so after 6 hours
Yeah.
of doing the scene over and over and over, and crying over and over, and all like we started at 6 a.m. and you're just spent. You're just like you've exhausted all emotion, and you're so unbelievably tired. And then we had lunch. And then we went back into the next scene where I'm a corpse, and I'm like, okay, well, you can just relax, you're a corpse. So like I'm, trying to be really still, and my eyes closed and I'm down, and then and then they're doing the scene, and then I kind of hear from off camera Adam go, Jesse, can you breathe? And I was like, huh? What? And he's like, well, you're moving. And I fell asleep.
Wow.
Because I was just done.
So
And so, like, sitting in a
So
chair,
emotionally.
like, yeah, emotionally done, up since 6, and, you know, enjoying my eyes closed. Then all of
Taking a little
sudden-
break.
Right.
Yeah. Then I was like, oh, no, I'm good. It was, I just had a muscle twitch.
Working method. Working method.
dream.
Trying to.
Okay, I know we got to get to the show, but one other
Sorry,
question.
yeah.
Now, when you got zipped up into
Oh,
the
thank
bag,
you. I wanted to know this.
Mm-hmm.
what was that like? Was that a little weird for you? Or were you at that point so exhausted? Yeah, fine, just lay me down.
Yeah, he was still sleeping. He didn't even know what happened.
Yeah, it was like, oh,
not
good. Turn the
claustrophobic, are
lights
you?
out. It's great. No, that was not that bad. I mean, there was a big hole right there in
Oh,
the top.
yes,
He didn't
okay.
zip it all the way to the top.
Right.
You can't tell. It's in the
Yeah.
background.
Yeah.
So
Right.
it was totally, and it was fun for him to just pull me back and forth across the floor over and over. It was like a slide.
There you go.
All right, there we go.
Can I tell you how I experienced the whole thing?
Sure.
Last week, Tamara said, "Oh no, Jimmy's not dead."
Because he wasn't at the end of last
Right,
week's
right.
episode.
I thought that
I
meant,
was quoting Graham Yost.
yes, I thought that meant you weren't dead for this season. So I see that thing, I go, and then Adam cuts over to you, and I'm like going, oh, see, yeah, so he's still gonna be alive. And you're going in the bag, and I'm going, he's gonna wake up in the trunk.
That's the way I felt as I was watching it too.
Yeah.
Just come back.
Yeah, no, evidently you did die.
Traditionally, when you're gut shot,
Yeah.
it's kind of
But
over.
it's also justified where you know. Anyway,
A lot,
I
a lot
had
of
an
people have
interesting take on
survived
it.
gunshots to the chest.
They
on Jurassic Park.
have.
Boyd Crowder was
Boyd
supposed to
Crowder
be dead.
in episode
Johnny.
1.
And
Johnny.
if Graham Yost says
Johnny.
you're not dead, you're not dead.
Yeah.
But you don't need to quite take it so
Well,
far,
yeah.
Steve.
The body bag was a
Just an update.
finale. I
You
think.
All
were
right,
dead.
we gotta move
Okay.
on.
We do. And one thing we have to do is talk, because this is the finale.
I made
we-
cupcakes.
Yeah, I know.
They're
Okay.
special cupcakes. They're chocolate with peppermint on top. And they have a little extra special something. And this is partly because of the finale, partly because I and Matt both had birthdays.
Yes.
Look at that.
So I have special treats for you, Matt.
What? I didn't know we were doing gifts. I didn't buy anything.
Look what
It's
you got.
Pop Rocks.
No,
These
no.
are
Hilarious.
special just for you. And on top of the
Hilarious.
cupcakes are Pop Rocks.
There you go.
So that's a little
Go, you
extra
wanna,
special.
You want to let everybody know why?
Yeah, because you want to know.
Yeah,
what
you
that
can
trick
use
I
those
don't
ha-
want to know
you
what
can-
it feels
You do
like.
wanna know what
I'm
that
just
trick is.
positive that the trick involving Pop Rocks and a,
No.
and a blowjob from earlier
For those
in the
who
season.
aren't aware, yeah, and Jesse's
yeah,
not
so
sure
earlier
either.
in the season, Terry.
Candy.
Well, she was
Terry.
calling herself Candy, but her name is Terry. Terry popped back up, and she seduced that one corner boy by telling him that she would use her special trick. She would put Pop Rocks in her mouth and then give him a blowjob.
Cyrus.
And-
Cyrus was.
Cyrus,
Thank you.
exactly. And in my opinion, it cannot be possible that's enjoyable for anyone involved.
And you
And
can
you
use
can
those
report back.
however you want. Those are a
Great.
gift from me. You can
Okay.
do whatever
Thank
you want
you.
with
All right,
them.
moving
First
on.
No
episode-
judgment.
It
First
literally
episode
says
next season.
taste the explosion. Right
There you
now.
go.
And
It
that's
says
not-
on the package.
You're
All right,
right.
let's move on to the show.
I agree with
Can
you.
we talk about
I
the
agree.
show, please?
Oh,
I
okay.
agree.
Jesse agrees.
I was wondering it as it happened, as they're filming it. I'm like,
And no,
that just
because
doesn't.
I imagine that it's happened because, like, when I was growing up at like sleepaway camp, it was mentioned. Like, this is not the first time I've heard of it.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
But I can't imagine that that's fun. They're popping around. That hurts.
We are going to keep
Moving on.
watching your Twitter feed. That's all I'm going to say.
All right, so we've gotta get
just
to-
one other thing I want to say about last week
Sure.
with
Taste
Jacob
the
Pitts being here.
explosion.
So he had something that he wanted to talk about that he didn't because he was a little bit shy about it. And
Yeah.
that's the cover that he did of Walking on Broken Glass. So you can find it at SoundCloud.com/youngmanonacid.
And it's actually great.
It's really cool. We listened to it ourselves, and so check that out. And look at my Twitter feed for the link if you can't find it. It's
Oh,
your
I
Twitter feed.
can't wait.
There you go.
to check
Yeah,
that
we'll talk
out.
more about
He's actually
Jacob
really
Pitts.
good.
I believe it.
We've got to get to the thing. So
Yeah, we
we've
do.
got to talk about how Jimmy's death affected Boyd. So obviously he's now.
Right.
There's no. I mean, who's left in his organization?
Carl.
Carl. Yeah, but
Carl.
we don't know what happened to Carl.
Yeah.
So that was kind of.
He
but
ran off.
he obviously he has an opening, and he's trying to fill it by convincing the cartel guys to join him.
Partner up.
To partner up.
We would make a
These
good
guys-
team.
They would. Absolutely.
And the amazing part in that scene is Boyd was the only one who didn't realize they weren't going to join
wasn't
us.
going to work.
Right.
And I loved watching that scene, to see them put him in that position
Yeah.
of just, you are so misreading this,
Yeah.
and you are so gullible, because you don't get to see him do that very often. Like,
But I don't think
never.
we've ever seen him that desperate.
Yeah.
And I think he's
he's
just grasping-
really, really at the end of,
Yeah.
of all ropes in this
Yeah.
season, I think, and that's
Yeah,
what they were trying
and
to
I
set
think
up
that's
for
why
me.
he was so hopeful.
But it was such an interesting choice to have him
Yeah.
stand up and say, "You just don't know how to," and have that moment of pure Boydism, just and then cut
Then
off
cut.
at the knees.
Yeah.
Well, he's someone who, he escapes by the skin of his teeth from a lot of situations.
All the time, yeah.
And, as desperate as he is, in that one instant, he's thinking, maybe I just might swing this one
Exactly.
too.
He just got out of this one too.
And the great thing about this season, painting him into this corner, having him be met with failure after failure after failure, is it pushes him to contact Raylan and try to lead him into this firefight, which sets off this final conflict. You'd have to be pretty desperate to make that play, and it makes everything that has come before, I think, completely, justified.
Yeah.
In terms of story construction. And I'm so excited about seeing them square off next season.
Yeah.
I cannot express the joy
Yeah.
of anyway.
Well, I like it too because I think it really sets up the bookend. That's how we started the series off between Boyd and Raylan
Yep.
facing off. I think that's how we're going to end it. I think they're going to be. I would love to see them end it at a dining table and have Boyd pull again, and
Cut to black and you don't know what happens.
I just think it's
looks
going to
off
happen.
camera.
I think I think they're going to do that same.
They
deal.
had so many shots of, like, again, the bridge shot, which is reminiscent to the first
Bringing
season.
us back to the bridge, the country
bridge,
house.
the country
where
house.
Boyd had done so much damage before.
Yeah, all of it. It was just. It was really just. Even the career choice. Well, you're good at bank robbing.
Right.
Right.
We're
So
going
it
back
really
to our
is
roots.
just- it was just like such a setup to this final is going to be all about old school.
Yeah. I loved the sequence at the country house after,
Yeah.
first of all, when he changes Raylan's number to be Daryl on
Yeah.
his phone so quickly, I'm like, awesome.
Yeah.
Great.
Yeah.
Love this.
Yeah.
And then didn't expect Tim and Rachel to be the ones to come up to the house.
Right.
But of course, Raylan was never going to leave Daryl and Wendy alone.
Yeah, when he learned that Daryl's out in the wind, he's not. That's what he wants is Daryl.
Yeah, but I love when he shoots that final guy from behind his back and he starts taunting Tim like, "Hey there, Mr. Sniper Ranger."
Mr. Sniper Ranger.
Mr. Sniper Ranger, so you want to learn how to do that? Well, it was just pure swagger, which he has not earned at all.
No.
Although I imagine he feels that way, escaping by the skin of his teeth.
Yeah, because
Oh.
he was dead in his
Yeah.
mind, and he comes out victorious.
Oh, the way he kept talking with
Yeah.
Rachel and Tim and about how, look, if it helped, if my selflessness helped to ensure that I was going to survive, well, hey, so be it.
Yeah.
Walton Goggins does such a good job of subtly showing his desperation when the gun is at his head and then at his stomach, and he's talking him through. Now, listen to me, work this out. And when the gun pulls away, he does just a small little. Sorry for the podcast, but it's a very small little.
Just like a relief eye roll. Kind of a
Yeah,
thing.
and it's so small and subtle. It's
Like a
great.
Thank Christ.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because you mentioned it, watching him, I assume it was a thrill to do it because, you're learning so much. Who else did you watch where you're specifically going, okay, what can I steal? I mean, borrow from? What can I learn from?
in my acting school.
Exactly.
Well, obviously all the great guest stars that have come through, and being kind of a henchman bodyguard for the first, mostly for the first two seasons, was a great opportunity to watch him square off with the other heavyweights, which that came through with Robert Quarles, Neil McDonough, or Michael T. Williamson, or last year with Mike O'Malley, Nicky Augustine,
Right.
And they would have these long,
Scenes, absolutely.
posturing scenes, or even Jerry,
Yeah.
Wynn Duffy.
Yeah, it's I don't know. It's hard to.
And they're paying you to do it.
Yeah, and you get paid to do it. And this season in particular, I'll tell you the one scene that I was like just on fire with loving to be able to do the same thing of being in the background and just watching it was the big, giant cluster of a scene that had Jane Roscoe their final scene when Agent Miller comes in and Roscoe does the reason not the need,
Yeah.
the King Lear thing.
Yeah.
Oh man, watching that I was just like, oh, like over and over and over. And he started it with this. The way he started it was like he's obviously done Shakespeare.
Yeah.
You know, and so he was like doing Shakespeare. And then all of a sudden he just decided like, and I saw him talking with Tim about it, and he's like, no, I'm just gonna like gangster this shit up. And then I was, oh man.
He did.
He did. So yeah, it's hard to pick just one, because it's always
been a
been
trip.
great. Yeah.
It's a gift.
Yep.
Absolutely.
All right, so Boyd obviously somehow gets through that experience, and then the next thing he's done. He's done. He's out of the heroin biz.
Yeah.
He's, you know.
Just
And
like
then
that.
he's
Exactly.
shocked,
I forgot to ask. Did you enjoy the skinning lesson?
Oh, I loved the skinning lesson.
Oh,
yeah.
that's right. We haven't talked about that because
Yeah.
we had talked about,
Ooh.
and I was surprised, because they brought the knives out, and usually you bring the knives out. I was like, whoa,
Right?
Are we really gonna
That-
see?
I-
Usually the knives come into play, but of course that wasn't in the first act, so
Right.
they
exactly.
showed that in the later act segment.
It's a great example of how dialogue can trump visual, and just they're letting your imagination, play what he is saying, which, and I'm sure Boyd's was too.
And interesting knives, the blades and
Oh, yeah.
things, So I mean, it just
Nice
made it
fillet.
really
Yeah.
sinister.
Well, I mean, the last knife, it was a skinning knife.
Yeah,
But
Oh, okay, thanks.
sorry.
Butcher Matt.
But
a lot of
yeah.
skinning experience.
Yes,
It was
apparently.
it was a great scene. I had a lot of fun watching it. I also, really enjoyed the quiet, the way that Walton Goggins
Yeah.
played the moment when he finds out that Ava's getting out of prison.
Yeah.
And it's just the line I don't understand, because
He didn't even think it was a possibility.
he didn't think it was a
Right.
possibility, and honestly, I'm sure that he went through a lot of very painful moments as he tried to get used to the fact that it wasn't
She
ever
wasn't.
going to change. And he did everything that he could to get her out, and then she still wasn't going to get out. So how is this? I don't understand.
Well, and do you think he's going to be onto it?
Do you think he's? I think
Yeah.
he's buying it right now.
Yeah,
right?
I think
because
he hasn't had time to really process the
And
whole
he
thing.
wants it to be
Sure.
true, of course.
Yeah, and Rachel says that she's coming after him,
Yeah.
but he doesn't really have any proof. Raylan's been saying that he wants to put him away for years.
Yeah.
So once he gets wind of the fact that they actually are coming after him,
Then
I
he'll
think
start to.
Then the clock starts
Yeah, yeah.
ticking until he
Yeah.
figures it
Because
out.
I was thinking the same thing.
Yeah.
Look, if they really had something on me, they would have done it by now.
Right.
So that's what he's thinking. At
Sure.
least that's what Boyd's thinking.
And
So.
also, I mean, Boyd obviously doesn't know this, but you remember last episode when we saw Ava and Raylan interact for the first time in a long time,
Yeah.
and the amount of malice that was
Yeah.
there between them, and we
Yeah.
were actually saying, like, I can't even imagine that these two were ever together.
Right.
So that's what makes it all the more exciting to see them have to trust each other again after all this time, with all the leftover resentment of how that actually turned out. There's so much to play with,
Yeah.
reintroducing that relationship. I want to bring up another thing too, and I know I'm jumping ahead, so we won't discuss it at length, but we still have Wendy and Kendall in the wind going down to Florida, where Raylan's supposed to be going at the end of this case. I just remember, before all the darkness, before Danny's death, before all of that,
Yeah.
Raylan and Wendy had a spark.
Yes, they did.
And I'm just saying, outside of Winona, who obviously is going to be relieved to have him back in Florida, and we
'Cause she's tired.
right? But
She needs a nap.
we'd love to see them together. I like the idea of keeping the options open for how does Raylan resolve the romantic side of his story.
Well, I
Right.
don't think he's going to Florida.
No,
Well, not yet.
I don't
Not
either.
yet, but I mean, I'm sure
Not
he's
yet,
he's
but-
going to go down.
Yeah.
I think after, well, they're setting everything. Look, one more thing before I go.
Yeah, there's always one more thing.
Absolutely.
But
That's
it's
what
always
setting
been
up.
Raylan.
Art's going to do one more
That-
thing
that-
before he retires.
That one thing is season 6.
Yeah, exactly.
One
Yeah.
thing.
That's what
I
it's
think
gonna
they're
be.
building up to Raylan and Ava having amazing angry sex.
I would not be surprised. That would not
I
shock me,
would.
Steve.
with lots of
You
squids.
would?
would be?
I'd be surprised if that's where they went.
Yeah,
Okay.
Yeah, they often don't go where I think they're going to go. It's
clearly.
I don't know. We had, I do want to say another, thing about this season that was really sort of lacking for me, and that was Raylan shirtless. I know I'm going to be the only one in the room, but
No, I will say this. It's not fair. We need to be even. We need
I
to be
know
just.
we
Okay.
do.
You
We
got-
saw
you got-
lots of ladies' butts.
and
Lots
you got
of lady
Dewey's
butt.
butt.
Yeah.
Lots of lady butts. In exchange, we get Dewey's butt. That's like negative
No!
points. Sorry,
I want
don't
to see
mean
Raylan shirtless, and we haven't seen it. So he deserves some awesome sex, I think, because
Yeah.
it's been a while.
But I don't think it's with Ava.
No.
No?
Who
No,
are
I
you?
don't
Who are
think
you
so.
calling, Jesse? What's the pick?
Well, I mean, Alicia. What?
Yeah,
Wendy
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 Crow.
Crow.
Wendy is. I don't think that's a bad guess, but I don't think he's going to wind up in Florida in enough time. So
I don't either.
there might be,
Somebody else.
somebody else along the way, and
Yeah.
maybe it's Allison coming back. But
Maybe
I think
it's
that it
Karen Cisco.
was maybe.
Yes, that would be fantastic.
Mary Steenburgen.
Yeah, Mary Steenburgen. But
watch
I think
that.
that what I loved about the last episode, about episode 12, was it really reintroduced this boy, these characters hate each other.
Yeah.
And
Right.
Boyd and Raylan have sort of had to team up several
Yeah.
times, and it was from season 1 to season 6. You've got these two forces, and you have to keep them apart. And how do you kind of navigate that and bring them together and everything like that? But what that came back of
Yeah.
boy, these guys just really despise each other, and same with Ava and Raylan.
But don't you think that's going to be kind of important for the final season to reset the parameters of their relationship? Because we have hung out with them so long that you always kind of yeah, but you're kind of friends, you're kind of buddies, because you kind of want them to be.
Right.
So to
But-
remind everybody, no.
That's what I think. That's what I think
Yeah.
they stuck the backbone
Yeah.
in with this episode was
Yeah.
just remember, because that's what we've been thinking for a while. I mean, they've even run promos of Boyd and Raylan, shooting guns alongside each other at somebody else, and that was the season 3 or 4 trailer. And it's they need to, or not needed to, but they did put this
Remind
backbone
us.
back in. That was
Because
these guys are enemies.
Yeah.
Right,
These
but in a
guys are-
weird way, you are kind of rooting for them to just get together
Oh
and go
yeah, you
fight
always
crime
are.
together.
You
Yeah.
definitely are.
frenemies.
They're
They're
frenemies.
frenemies.
Yeah,
They're
okay.
frenemies.
You know, and then
Yeah.
interesting thing that they also did with that is, and I think this still works. Oh no, we're not there yet. Okay, never mind.
just break.
Well, lastly on the Boyd, I just want to talk about the fact that the Catherine Wynn scene with him at the end there. We haven't even talked about that.
Right.
we
Yeah.
kind of did, but-
Right.
Okay,
Because we learned
just
a lot there.
Forgive me. Who is she married? Who's
She was
she's
married.
married-
So she was married to
A bad guy.
A bad guy.
Wynn's mentor.
Wynn Duffy's mentor, who went away years ago. He was convicted for the murder of AUSA
Vasquez.
Vasquez boss.
Yes. So Vasquez Vasquez seems to have some knowledge or suspect that she was the one in charge of the criminal conspiracy, that she was the one who had his boss killed, and she never got prosecuted for it. So he has a personal vendetta towards her,
Yeah.
which that's the only reason that they're going after Boyd at all, is this union of Rachel wants to open it, and Vasquez is not only on board, he's gunning
Yeah.
for
Yeah.
Catherine Hale.
Yeah.
For personal reasons as well as obviously
So-
professional obligation.
Yeah.
Right.
So, Boyd, you suck at heroin,
Yeah.
but I hear you're extraordinary when it comes to
Thanks.
robbing banks.
But also in that scene, I thought was more interesting than that was the way Wynn was talking. We got a really good idea that Catherine wasn't the one, wasn't just the wife; she was running the show.
Oh,
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah.
That part, because Boyd was playing it like real soft and loose. Like, well, depending on how much you knew about his his escapades or whatever. But clearly, she'd been running it all along.
Yeah.
Also, for as much as Wynn takes care of Mike, he doesn't seem at all bothered to have him maybe blow up
Right. Be a peach.
when he throws the keys to Mikey. I love that moment.
Yeah, be a peach.
Like, be a peach.
And I wonder again. Was that was scripted? Because that's a great line, and if it wasn't,
I'm sure it was.
Yeah, you never know. I mean, it could have been something they come up with. On
Do
the day.
you know how much they just let Jerry Burns just go? Or is it pretty tight to the
No,
script?
oh God, no. Have you had other actors on the from the show?
Yeah,
on here
yeah,
before?
yeah. They work a
I
lot
mean,
of
they've-
stuff out on the day.
There's no.
One of my first scenes, I went up and I was like, "Hey, I'm sorry." I went up to one of the writers and I said, "Hey, I'm sorry. I think I said this line instead of this line." And he goes, "Oh man, this is not that kind of show." I didn't even notice.
Yeah.
Oh,
Like,
that's
do
right.
that.
That kind
That
of
feels
show.
good.
Okay.
So they very much are
All right.
loose with the words. And I mean, when we sit down to start scenes, it's like the actors are sitting in a circle, the writers there, and they're pitching little tweaks on the very end. Like, can we and Walton especially, and Walton is so great at minimalizing everything, and he'll frequently say like, can we lose these 2 lines? And they'll go, yeah. Then the writers are very encouraging of the actors. Or if they really they say, no, we need this because of this. And then, it's a very collaborative process.
Yeah.
Sure.
Wow.
So what I liked about the scene was because we learned that Catherine, a lot of backstory with her, with very quickly getting that. And also it sets up a whole thing. We're going to peel away the layers of her because how badass is she?
Right. Well,
So I think
here's
that's great.
That sweet smile.
Yeah, I know.
So
It's like
She's
disarming.
just a country
It is, man.
grandmother.
It's like honey.
remember?
Here's the one thing, though, that we have to remember. Now, Wynn says, I wasn't going to come up for air. I wasn't going to call you until the matter resolved itself. Boyd says, I resolved it for you. But I have to imagine that these guys, before they got killed, called Mr. Yin and their
Yes.
bosses in Mexico and let them know
Yes.
Boyd Crowder's still alive. So how are they all seemingly ignorant of this fact?
Yeah. I
Well, they
was
just
wondering
started
the
this
same thing.
episode because it's the immediacy of it. Those guys that were there aren't there. So
Right.
until the new crop from the
Comes up,
cartel
crosses the
comes out,
border.
it's not in front of us. It's
not a pressing issue. Right.
Exactly.
Just tuck that behind your
Yeah.
ear for
Well,
later.
that may not
'cause
be
it's
going
coming
away.
back.
Harlan is kind of the Bermuda Triangle for bad guys because
They all wind up there.
no one gets
And they
out
never
of
leave
there.
alive.
They
That's
never
right.
leave Harlan alive.
All right. So, all right. That's anything else we want to talk about the Jimmy Boyd particular storyline and how that
I
worked
think he's still
itself out?
alive. I'm going with my
You're
original.
hoping,
Yeah,
aren't
we-
you?
Jimmy,
It's
we can
time.
only hope that you're going to come back from the grave.
Time to.
So let's move on to Ava because she had a very interesting.
Big episode.
Yeah, and it set up a whole new arc for her.
Well,
Go ahead.
no, just we've been bummed that she's been stuck in prison all
Yeah.
season.
All season.
But it was for a purpose. It was to drive her to a place where betrayal of Boyd is possible.
Yeah.
And I think that that's something that's exciting enough that I think it was worth it.
Yeah, it was, and it was a great
Yeah.
place, good journey for her. Because remember, we were talking Dairy Queen earlier in the season.
Yes,
we were
we
still
were.
having the vestiges of that, and that is completely demolished now.
Yep.
Yeah, there were times where I was just like, why? Why are we still here? Why are we still here? And I agree. I think the payoff does make that all make sense. You
Right,
know,
and I was reading message boards, and people were very frustrated by Ava being in prison all season. Number one, because there was always the comparison of Orange is the New Black, and it was difficult to try and show it in a different way and something that we haven't seen before. And just people were just really frustrated by it. So I think everybody is thrilled that she's out of prison.
Well, I especially like this particular episode because she took on Gretchen.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Instead of, she just, let's face it, we actually have her standing on the table. I mean, it was Norma Ray moment, Union, right?
Yes,
She's
it was.
calling her out as a coward.
Yes.
Yeah.
That was
Yeah.
very ballsy.
Yeah.
She was ready to fight. She was ready to go. But then ultimately, she realizes that the danger's never going to stop. She puts herself into solitary confinement for temporary protection.
Yep.
But then Rowena, comes in. She lays it out for her.
Yeah,
Here's
either
the
go
deal.
crazy
Well,
here or
and
get
again-
killed out there.
And again, the heroine storyline isn't even being addressed, which is
Well,
that was going to
Gretchen mentions you must be
Yeah.
high on
Using
your
the
own
product.
product.
And
Yeah.
then somebody else says you're good for business, but no one is saying, and by the way, where is the business, which could be used to even push her decision further
Right.
to betray Boyd.
Right, because she knows
Right.
that even if she doesn't take this deal, the clock is ticking
Yeah.
until she is of
There's
no
no
use to
safe
anyone.
haven.
Like
No,
she
I
will
thought
die
the
in
setup
it.
was great. I thought,
Yeah, it's great. Just like Boyd, the only decision I have right here, the only play I can make is to hopefully get Raylan to come save me. That's how desperate he is.
Right.
And then her desperateness is hopefully Raylan can save
Save me, right.
Well, think
Yeah.
about her evolution over the course of the series, right? She starts out as a woman who was being beaten by her
Yep.
husband, and she was in this terrible abusive relationship, and she got out of it by killing him.
Yep.
She murdered her husband. I mean, in self-defense, but
Yeah.
that's still a thing. And she went from being proud and having some values and thinking that maybe her life could normalize to falling in love with this incredibly destructive force, the brother of her abusive husband, and then got so wrapped up in the criminal side of things.
That she legitimately killed someone.
Right. And then wound up having to pay not just for her crimes, but then for crimes she didn't even commit. Like, life has completely screwed her over, in response to these choices that she's made. And she's an entirely different person now than she was the last time she and Raylan had this much contact.
Yeah.
which, not just her attitude towards him or towards law enforcement, but I have to imagine she's very nihilistic right now. Like, life is terrible.
Yeah.
And the only way that she's going to stay out of prison and potentially have a shot at anything resembling normalcy is to survive this test, to report on Boyd and to get him into jail.
Well, the other thing that's great about the way they set it up is her lack of faith that Boyd had her back, which, again, is very helpful if she's going
In making
to
the turn.
Yeah.
in making the
Yeah.
turn
You're
and how she
absolutely right.
plays that turn.
Yeah.
So, yeah,
And from her perspective, he didn't. Everything he tried failed.
as far as she knows.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
Yeah.
From her perspective.
So, I hope they mine all that information.
It's gonna be
in the
great though, because she's gonna have all this conflict. Because this is the person I loved. We had these plans, and they fell
Yeah.
apart. And now I'm gonna betray him. And I mean,
Yeah,
this is
it's
gonna be
ripe for heartbreak.
Oh, yeah.
It's
She
operatic.
she
Yes.
also broke up with him.
Yeah.
And that that hurt him a bit.
And I love the tension between them in their one interaction
Yes.
Yeah.
when she comes home and she tells him not to stay. He's like, what do we do now? She's
Right.
like, well, I'm gonna go in, take a bath, put on my PJs, and go to sleep in my own bed.
And then
Binge
we're gonna
watch
see how
TV.
then she's gonna have to put on this fake face for him, because she's got to get back together with him in some fashion in order to stay in close and get information.
That's
and-
going to be difficult because she still loves him.
Yeah.
And so she's doing it for the wrong reasons and is going to betray him. And so the conflict within her is just going to be
Now,
heartbreaking.
Jesse, you've worked with them extensively.
Yeah.
Can you speak to what they talk about in terms of how they play their relationship when Ava and Boyd?
Oh yeah. Walton and Joel are constantly scheming. They're talking about the scene before the scene. They're talking about the scene in between takes. They're talking about the scene after the scene. I mean, they really have all the nuances down that they need to have. And I think the proof is in the pudding. And that scene in particular, where they reconnect at the country house, it was so wonderful, because when you realize what's going on in her head, and it's just like, because she seems so cold initially, and you think, well, maybe it's just she got out of jail, or whatever the case may be, but there's no happy reunion to be had here. And then you kind of realize later she's just not ready to do it just yet.
Yeah.
She's not, she probably sees him and is ecstatic and wants to hug him and wants to hold him and wants to everything like that, but she knows she has to stab him in the back. And so it's just like, can
Can I have one day?
I do this tomorrow?
Yeah.
Yeah, I just want to take a bath, get in my pajamas, shut the world out.
Yeah.
Now, and I'm curious because Adam Arkin directed this episode.
Yep.
And there's so much that isn't said, and so many moments that are just allowed to be. Do the different directors make you feel different as your character, or are they more just
Because obviously
kinda
he's an actor, so
captain?
does he come at it from more of an actor's point of view?
Sure. Yeah. All of the directors that are virtually all the directors that we have are repeat directors. They and I think that's the way it is with most shows. But we get the same guys, over and over, and I think it's great because they know the characters and they know the story and they know the actors and they know how to talk to them, and everybody is a working machine and a team together. And Adam is, I think Adam is absolutely wonderful, and I do think him coming from an acting background helps a lot. But he knows what language to speak to you in. And
They were talking about how he talked to Kendall too. In that, I'm sorry, the character Kendall. I mean, in that specific scene with Raylan, and that Adam apparently had some really helpful things to say for him. Because first of all, the kid does a great job, and then
Yeah.
that
Right.
kid at that age handling a scene like that well. was impressive. And
I actually know Adam's family. I know his daughter. We were buddies before I even got on the show.
Wow.
And so I know Adam has a son that's about 9, so maybe that helped him. I don't know.
yeah.
Oh, interesting. There.
But Adam is absolutely wonderful.
And I imagine he has a shorthand with actors. He
Yeah,
knows
he
what
has
they
a
need, he
very
knows-
very shorthand.
Yeah.
And when I saw his name on the
the call?
script,
Okay.
for the last episode, and I knew that I was dying in that,
Right.
and I came in and I just said, I'm really happy it's you.
Yeah.
Because there are directors who are just concerned about making their
Yeah,
day.
they're more technical.
They're
As
more
opposed to-
technical, or they're worried about don't nobody go into overtime,
Right,
and
exactly.
you're like, well, but we're trying to make a damn
You
show
need
here.
the moment
like,
here.
yeah,
Yeah,
like,
exactly. Yeah.
All right. We gotta
We gotta
keep
get
going.
on to. We gotta move on to
have
Wendy
to
and
die
Daryl.
on time.
Wendy.
Yeah, we gotta move on to Wendy
Speaking
and Daryl.
of time, yeah.
Yeah, let's move on. Where do we want to jump in with the Wendy and Daryl
Okay,
thing?
so she finds out that Kendall did not
Yeah.
shoot Art, and Raylan says you need to wear a wire.
Yeah, and she, of course, after being beaten so brutally a couple of episodes prior to this, she knows
Says
that,
no.
and because she knows that he'll sense it out.
Yeah.
Raylan has not been the king of sensitivity the last couple of
Yeah, I know. I know.
Not a
he
strong
was-
suit.
He said, was it last week that he turned to Ava and he said, "Yeah, I can
be hard too."
Yeah.
And he's just reminding us that when they need to pull the lever or push them in the direction.
He was ice cold
Yeah.
this episode. Well, I mean, when he's standing
Oh
over
my God.
Daryl's body,
Right.
and we have that amazing shot as he's looking just past the lens, and he's basically like straight on with the camera. He's like, I told you you would wish that I'd killed you, don't you?
Don't
That
you?
was
Yeah.
the moment I was talking about,
Oh
where
my
they're reintroducing how bad Raylan can
Yep.
be.
I don't think that it ever left. I think that if anything, this season was about making sure that the audience is aware. Listen, this
Yeah.
dude has done some bad stuff.
Yeah.
But they also had the challenge of dealing with Kendall, and when Raylan and Kendall are together, you see the father Raylan wants to be. You see that, and that can overshadow just the fact that he did kill a guy to protect his family. That there
He
is
killed
the
a guy. He had a
wild
guy
side.
killed.
Yeah, he didn't do it.
He was
He didn't-
complicit.
Hey.
Supposedly.
Careful, he didn't pull a trigger.
Same with Raylan and Loretta.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
The girl that's in, she's
Yeah.
in the
Yeah.
beginning of the season.
Yeah.
So having that moment and having it framed that way and giving it just chilling.
Which moment? The Daryl moment?
Or
the
when he's
Kendall?
telling
Yeah.
the dying Daryl.
Yeah.
And the line itself is just so good. There's so many things. I'm only guessing the writers are probably like a whole sheet of, what can Raylan say? Oh, damn it. Oh. And then to choose that simple line. But yeah, I think they had to push that again to get us ready for the final season.
I'm sure. I want to talk about that Kendall Raylan scene, though,
Oh,
as
hell
yes.
we can, just because we've never heard about
right, but-
Raylan's first kill.
Yeah, but hang on, because let's talk about that last, because we have to
Yeah,
do
yeah,
the
yeah.
Wendy
Yeah.
Wendy
Okay,
Daryl
okay.
Yeah.
thing, because I want to spend more time on that too, and I want
Great,
that to be the
great.
last thing we talk
Yeah.
about. Because right now, everybody's happy. I mean, let's face it, Daryl was not the nicest of guys. We wanted his comeuppance.
Right.
Yeah.
And so we set this whole thing in motion because they let Daryl out early. And they hold Wendy back because they're trying to, as Raylan says, give the man some rope to hang himself. So, and of course, let's talk another great scene between Daryl and
Tim.
Tim.
Yeah.
That was a nerve-wracking scene because Daryl being nice, you're like going.
Because every time he's been nice, right, just
Something
shortly, or
bad
somewhere during that
happens.
nice moment, he goes nuts.
Yeah.
He beats somebody up. Or
I
whatever.
love one of my things that I love about this show is all the villains are very intelligent. It's a different type of intelligence than I think is displayed anywhere else on TV. They're all very smart. They're very crafty,
And they're charming, usually.
incredibly charming.
And that's the thing, that a crafty, clever villain makes it that much more satisfying when your protagonist comes after them and ultimately
And bests
prevails.
them, yeah.
Exactly.
Or they're dumb as a bucket
Right.
of rocks, like
There's
Dewey
that.
That's
or
true.
Dickie Bennett, or
That's
those
true.
kinds of guys.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's an extreme.
Yeah.
There's
Yeah.
one or the other.
I guess we're talking about the
main,
real
yeah.
antagonist, as
the
opposed to
masterminds.
Yes,
Exactly.
So and we get to learn a little bit about Tim and his second tour of Afghanistan, and and he's so cool,
Oh, you don't want to know what we did
Yeah.
to that guy.
Yeah, that was a great
Chills.
line. That
And
was
he
a great
says,
line.
and he'll have an erection about what was it? It's like another boner line. What,
Yeah.
how many?
How comfortably erect I'll be
Yeah, that
watching
was.
your bitch ass squirm.
It's like they have they have these lines for Tim.
Yeah.
Stars on that one.
Yeah,
Go Jacob. It was very, very fun. And
How-
always
and-
nice to see him open an episode.
exactly.
Yes.
He's great, and it reminded me a little bit of last season with him and Ron Eldard.
Yes.
Colt,
Yeah, Colt,
Colton, and
absolutely.
that
Yes.
whole thing of them having that.
Yes.
So it's fun when he gets
Yeah,
That's
but of course
true.
Daryl's able to get away.
I was just going to say, Rachel and Tim are both going to be featured more prominently next season,
Right.
according to Graham Yost and his intentions. And we know
Right.
things change, but
Right.
that his intention
I
is
would
to
hope so because they've earned that. I
Sure,
would think.
definitely.
I think they've earned that.
Yeah.
And I think the fans are really wanting that.
And since we can't have Jimmy coming back from the dead, I
well,
guess
maybe
that's
he'll
what
come
we'll
back
have to do.
anyway. We'll bring
He's
him back
not
to
dead.
StarCrossed.
I keep telling you guys.
So Daryl escapes.
Again.
He drives
Again.
off. Causes Tim's in a car crash.
Yeah.
Goes back to Audrey's, and Wendy
Wendy
calls
calls
him,
him.
tracks him down, and there's amazing performance from Alicia Witt
Yeah.
as she tries to get him
To confess.
To confess, and she's forgiving him and saying, "I'd never understood what it was like to protect the family," and like really giving this heartfelt appeal, and it's really moving and beautiful if it was the truth,
Right.
and it's even as it's not the truth, it's still incredibly intense and just a wonderful scene. And then I'm just like, why tell
Really?
him? Why
Yeah.
tell him that?
Take the bag and walk
go.
out.
Because she wants to kill him.
She wants that confrontation.
Yeah.
You can see in the shot she's already reaching,
Yeah,
behind
yeah.
her
for the
back.
gun.
And the show is justified. I think she feels justified. You put my son in this position.
Yeah. Oh,
You
yeah.
killed Dilly?
No one's more pissed than her
Yeah.
in that episode.
Hell hath no fear.
But that was an interesting scene because Daryl was telling her, "You don't know your kid.
Oh,
What
yeah.
did we do on
You're
the
a
on this
deadbeat
10-year?"
mom.
Yeah.
And the fact that he's sitting there and she's saying, "You did all you could to keep the family together." He says, "Yeah, it was tough work. There's no family left.
Right.
They're all kind of dead or
Yeah, you suck at
kind
keeping
of
the
in
family
jail."
together.
And yet he's sitting on his throne. Like I did a great job keeping the family together.
I also
it's all
like-
about family.
I also like that he gives it up because there's a part of him, and I thought Michael Rappaport played it beautifully, was that he wants to say, I didn't mean to, I didn't have any idea to shoot the man. He was just there. It just happened. It was a part of him, and that happens a lot. There's a part of you that wants to confess, even though you shouldn't.
Yeah.
But he does.
yeah.
Because I think, in some weird way, he struggles for family too. He really wants family.
Oh yeah. I think so too.
Yeah.
He's not just doing it to make money.
No.
There's not, there was a genuine motivation behind all of those things.
It's a weird, twisted family, but he's trying to make it work.
When
Well,
they-
I'm sorry. It's his version of the Dairy Queen.
Yeah,
know,
absolutely.
Well, and he's also living in the shadow of his father.
Yeah.
Trying to be his dad,
Live
and they
up to
talked about that.
And she even used the term.
Exactly.
You can't live in his shadow.
Yeah.
And he's the only one on the series that lives in the shadow of his father, I believe.
Yeah.
That's right. There's no other theme like that, is there?
Nothing is strung through.
I can't see
Nothing
it.
else.
Just a
Nice
pittance.
try, though, Steve.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Raylan walking
I'm trying.
in. What did I miss?
Oh yeah.
Fantastic.
Wendy, now would be a good time to put down the gun.
Yeah.
And again, Raylan deciding to talk family
Yeah, exactly.
to Daryl. But
Yeah.
by the way, this is the other side of family.
Right.
You have a gun to your balls
Right.
kind of family.
Right.
Great scene.
Yeah.
Don't family and dysfunction go together like peanut butter and chocolate. That was a
They-
Boyd Crowder line.
Oh, is that really?
Yeah.
I don't remember
Yes,
now.
sir.
Thank you for calling that back. I appreciate that.
Now, Tammy had a technical question about a kick to the balls
right, I
versus
did.
a gunshot to the balls.
Yeah.
You want to speak to this? Jeff?
So, I mean,
I've never experienced the latter.
Right.
no, I would
the
assume no
gunshot to the
one.
balls.
Yeah, 'cause you were shocked by his
but-
version.
Yeah, so every guy, who in every show or movie gets hit in the crotch with,
A kick or knee to the crotch, whatever.
falls like, fetal position, crying, screaming.
Pain.
You get shot in the balls. There's blood everywhere, and he's like, "Whoa, check it out."
First of
like,
all,
what?
Okay.
we don't know necessarily that bullet pierced.
We don't know where it
Connected.
hit.
Okay.
All
We don't know
right.
where it
We
hit.
also don't know if he ever experienced pop rocks and it numbed the area. Maybe
Oh,
you
he
never
could
know.
have extensive pop
point.
rock damage.
Exactly.
It's true.
Exactly.
Hey,
Pop
the
rocks
man,
numbing.
Pop
Residual.
rock damage.
the man ran a whorehouse. Okay,
That's
we
right.
can agree on that much.
may not
Yes,
have
we
balls.
can.
Yeah, and even if they did hit the balls, right?
Yeah.
It is a pain so intense, he probably went into shock. It's also
Right
his
there.
sister delivering the blow.
That's right.
Definitely a huge shock.
Yeah.
So he's just not feeling it.
Yeah.
I don't know if getting shot in the balls would hurt any more than
See?
getting shot in the arm.
See, there you go.
You know,
in the
anything.
heart.
Yeah, and you
Yeah.
got shot through duct tape. So, if all of us here on the panel, he would know best.
Exactly.
That is true.
So,
He didn't
all right.
wear 2 pads, he wore 1.
That's right.
Damn right.
He's
I will say-
a
I'm all
tough
man.
guy. That is right.
I will say, getting kicked in the balls is much funnier than getting shot in the balls.
You're right. It's not
wasn't
so
that funny.
funny.
It's
It's not
really
that
not so
funny.
funny.
No
No.
one wants to think about that.
Okay,
not
but you
that
know,
funny.
okay, there's got to be
Mutilation.
some weird wish fulfillment because how many women out there have wanted to shoot somebody?
Right?
I guarantee any woman who was at the wrong end of a beating
Yeah.
was thinking,
Yeah.
I would have pulled that trigger.
Yeah.
Exactly.
What, only once? He had 2 of them.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah,
she
that
shot
was-
him
that
twice.
was-
She shot him
Yeah,
in the neck.
it was
Yeah,
particularly
but-
menacing there.
She
And
could've
then,
shot him 3 times.
And also, just the shot in the neck.
yeah.
Yeah.
Did
Again.
you enjoy that, Steve?
There,
Yeah,
there was a good quotient of blood
Right?
and splatter.
Yeah.
It was
Oh, yeah.
lacking. I think they reintroduced it with the cigarette bomb.
Right?
That was
Have you
a
ever been
nice-
on set when anything like that happens?
No.
Well,
It's-
on a different thing, yeah.
It's hilarious to see because you got like the cameras all there, and then everybody looks like a hurricane is coming because
Yeah.
they drape them all
In ponchos.
Y'all wearing
in
part- yeah.
ponchos and plastic. So you look over, and it's just like this sea of plastic with like little lenses sticking out. And then the camera guys, like they're all covered in plastic.
course.
So they've got like goggles on, and it's like a Breaking
Wow.
Bad scene. You know, they're all looking like this.
They're in
and
a
they go
meth
like,
lab.
"Okay, camera set," and then you're sitting there with the squib on, and you're like, "Is this? Am I gonna live? Like, am I gonna
Everyone
actually
seems
be able-"
really concerned.
Man, I'll take that other pad now.
Okay, do
great.
we want to talk about Art
So-
and Winona before we get into this Raylan thing?
No, but just a little bit more about the thing afterwards because of that. We've already talked to Look. So, because it's still the Wendy storyline, do we really think that they're gonna? Because you mentioned that the Florida
Well,
thing. I think she's done. I don't.
I
think
think
we're
she's
gonna
done.
See her.
Yeah,
we might see
Raylan's-
Kendall. I don't know that we'll ever see.
Raylan says that he doesn't think that their paths will cross again. That could be the show saying they won't, or it could be the show saying, you never know, Raylan.
Yeah,
so,
and Raylan's been wrong before. So
Yeah.
yeah. All right.
Yeah.
I would guess that you don't.
Okay.
But I would also promise that they don't know currently.
Yeah, I mean,
Fair
that's
enough.
true.
You're right.
Yeah, they
Yeah.
haven't set the whole arc.
Yeah,
of the
they don't
season.
know.
They haven't
So,
beat out the story.
There's
so
only
they don't know.
13
That's right.
episodes left. If they can't give one to Alicia
Right.
Wood, I understand.
Yeah.
And
Well,
here's the thing.
I think so too. You might see Kendall.
Yeah,
You might
yeah,
see
yeah.
Kendall once.
I mean,
Yeah.
they both did a really
They
good
both
job
did a
for the
great job,
show,
of
and
course.
they certainly deserve whatever cameo or whatever they might bring them back for. But I think because of the father issue
Yeah.
of the show, that's
Yeah.
why I think you will see Kendall.
Yeah.
And that kid, Jacob,
Yeah.
he is just the nicest damn kid.
How old is
He's-
that kid?
I think he's 12 or 13.
Wow.
He is so incredibly polite.
Really? He's 12 or 13 and he's pulling that stuff?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
Wow.
He's. Did you see Mud?
Yeah.
I haven't seen
with,
it yet.
with Matthew McConaughey.
Yeah, that's where they found him.
Oh,
Yeah.
man.
Cammy Patton saw that movie and was like, "I need that kid
Mm-hmm.
on Justified." He lives in Arkansas, flies in and out.
Oh, man.
no
And
kidding.
yeah, he's like, he's
Oh,
just.
that's
That's
great.
awesome.
Good for him.
And he's such a nice. He's the most polite, like wonderful. Like every parent hopes their kid turns out.
Well,
like
that'll
that,
change.
you know?
I would love-
Yeah.
I
now
wanna
he's in
s-
Hollywood,
yeah.
so we'll get
It's
our hands
over.
on him. And
I want to see Kendall become a marshal. I want to see him take the same step. He's got the
That'll
same
be
reason to be
interesting.
angry.
That's right.
As Raylan does. And I mean, we'll get into that in a bit.
well,
Okay.
you could see Raylan's ghost of because we already saw his ghost of Raylan Future with Agent
Right.
Miller.
Exactly.
Right. That's the ghost of Raylan
Right.
past. So
Right.
like there's
Eric Roberts, exactly. Yeah,
Eric Roberts,
very
yeah.
interesting.
And also, you look at Dave Keckner's character, and we see the Raylan future
could have been.
That could have been
Exactly.
if he valued his family over his work.
No, he
That sounds like a
doesn't.
judgment. All right, so well, let's since we're going on to kind of let's talk specifically about the scene now that we wanted to talk about the scene in that when Raylan talks about the feral pig.
Right. So
Let's jump in.
he's trying to get Kendall to. He's trying to convince Wendy that there's no way that Kendall did it. He's trying to get Kendall to recant, but he tells this story about the first thing that he ever killed, and it's this feral pig that Arlo forced him to kill, and he said, he'd tan my hide if he didn't. And the longer he waited, the worse that it was. And when he finally did it, he was sick to his stomach, so sick that he vomited everywhere. And then Arlo beat the hell out of him. It's something that he never forgot. It utterly changed him.
Yeah.
And the
That was
first,
writing on the wall right there.
right.
man.
And when we meet Raylan, he kills a man. It's the first
Yep.
thing we see
Yeah.
him do.
Yep.
It's the first thing we see him do, and his use of violence has defined the show, especially early on. So to know that when he killed a man for the first time, he was just as disgusted as he was when he killed this pig, it makes you wonder one of two things. Is he still that disgusted when
Right.
he kills something, which I'm thinking the answer is no.
No.
Yeah.
And if not, how far has he gone down this rabbit hole?
And will he ever be able to come back?
Will he ever be able to come back? And are all of his actions, I hate to keep using the title of the show, but
Yeah.
it's the reason they titled it because it was originally
Yeah.
called Lawman, are his actions justified? And exploring that anger. And I'm just like, there's so much meat on this character bone. I can't.
Can you wait until season 6?
No,
Matt?
I'm kvelling.
Really? You
for,
can't?
for all the Yiddish people out there, I'm kvelling. I'm
You
so
are.
excited. Yes.
What does that mean? Do you mean sweating?
I'll be okay. No,
Okay.
it means I'm excited and I'm
Okay,
proud.
great.
I'm proud of the show. I don't know if that's allowed, but I am.
It's okay.
But
We'll let you.
the other thing is he aware how much he's shut down in order to do his job the way he does?
How much he's
Because
lost.
he and Kendall
Yeah.
used to be the same person.
Exactly.
Yeah.
He used to feel a lot more.
Yeah, and how much he's had to just close off and not feel in order to be rationalize what he does.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, it's so much fun to see him do that scene, the conflict of realizing where he came from,
Right.
where he is,
Yeah.
and what kind of father he could be.
Because you would have thought the birth of his child would have brought him back.
Yeah.
To some degree to humanity.
Didn't.
To say, you know what? I mean,
I honestly think
that.
it was my favorite episode of the season, but that Agent Miller episode where
Yeah.
they're showing him his glimpse into the future,
Right.
and when Hot Rod gets killed,
Yeah.
and he's just and Miller's on the ground with him, and he gives him the booze, and he
Yeah.
says, "Oh, it's the cheap shit," and and that's Boyd.
Yeah.
That's Raylan and Boyd.
Yeah.
And
Yes.
that's why I think that episode.
Yeah,
I
that
was
was
like, wow.
that was,
Yeah, it was
great.
And he's looking at him going,
Yeah,
this
that's
is
the
what
parallel right
yeah,
there.
This is where
this is
I'm
what I have to
going.
look forward to. This guy's alone, bitter, an
Yeah.
alcoholic.
Exactly.
And murders people.
And he's
just
this
obsessed with his
close
job.
to getting to Florida and having and avoiding that life, and they
They pull him back in for one
Exactly.
last
One
job.
last thing before
job.
you
Big
go.
one, you know.
One last thing before you go.
The-
And I thought
That
that was
was-
great backstory to have. Sorry to interrupt, but great backstory to have Raylan say all that about Arlo, because Arlo's been such a huge influence, and we haven't really heard Arlo in a season and a half.
No, not at all.
Since he died.
Yeah, and we to bring it all back in one scene and to crystallize everything, and have it be about backstory, but not because he was really ostensibly trying to get Kendall to recant, or at least
Yep.
to prove to Wendy that he didn't do it.
Yep.
So it was just masterful how they
Right.
wove all that in and made it all happen. in
Yeah, it
one
was a
scene.
brilliant
And
scene.
one last point that I want to make sure we don't gloss over. He says, "I'm not sure if I joined the Marshal Service
Oh, yes.
just to spite Arlo, just to piss him off." Which, if that's really what started his whole career, you think about how much does he really care about the law, and how much of him doing his job has been about this lets me get out my anger in a positive way and allows me to kill people.
Right.
If I
Exactly.
have to.
How many
Kill
times
people
is
like Arlo.
Yeah, how many times is he killing his dad?
Exactly.
Yes.
He's just endlessly murdering his father.
Yeah.
Yes.
Versus Boyd, who's like this weird surrogate brother because Arlo preferred Boyd to him.
Yes,
Yep.
he did.
So now he's facing both his huge Oedipus complex and how he feels about his father, and now he has to track down and kill his proverbial brother, who he's been in this intense rivalry with.
So Greek.
So
Yeah.
while all of this is
Greek
going
tragedy,
on,
right?
So
F
Greek
yeah,
Kentucky.
Greek.
Yeah, exactly.
while all of this is going on, and Timothy's doing a great job with it, you have this young kid right across the table
Holding his own.
who goes toe to toe. He doesn't push. He doesn't try too hard. He just and there's a great moment in there where Raylan basically goes, "You're one big badass." To let me get those handcuffs off so you can have your hot
cocoa.
chocolate, your hot cocoa.
Coco.
And I thought that is it right there, from badass to Coco in
Yeah.
one line.
It was a great scene, well written, and then kudos to not only the actors in it, but whatever hand Adam had in creating those nuances and keeping it under and not, because it could have easily gone
It could have been
much
arch.
different way.
It could have been
Yeah.
big.
Yeah.
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 No,
it was a
the-
beautiful scene. It was really,
Yeah.
And,
really beautiful.
and the way he was able to float back and forth between a hard nose, they're dinosaur, who cares, to that realization of, oh, holy crap, 40 years.
And just the little shake of the hand when he picked it up.
yeah,
just
all the
tiny
little
thing.
small stuff.
Yeah.
I thought he did a great job. This is one of my favorite scenes for the definitely for the season.
For the series, for me.
Yeah, it's up there.
Yeah.
All right, where else are we going with it? Well,
We stopped in. We saw
art. We
Art.
got to see that. We got to see them at least come back together a little bit. I don't think it's fully
Again,
resolved. There,
great
not that
moment.
there ever will be.
Yeah.
Great moment
But-
where Art says thank you, and Brandon's just like,
Yeah, it looks like he wanted to say something about being transferred, like maybe I don't want to go or whatever, but then stops himself.
That's what's so great about it, because you are putting the words out there. You're
Yeah.
like going, he's gonna say what? He's gonna, and they, say whatever you think he's gonna say.
Right. And then we also have that moment where he asks Raylan, "Did you shoot him?"
Yeah.
No, but he's
he's
dead.
dead.
Act of God, and they both kind of chuckle, and it's so loaded.
Yeah.
Oh, absolutely.
So, but in that moment, does it answer what he says to what Raylan had said to Tim? I don't think you know him as well as I do,
Yeah.
Right.
because I think Art was happy that he killed him,
Or no,
or that allowed him to be killed.
That he was dead, but
Right.
I think he was also happy that Raylan
Didn't
kill
do
him.
it.
Oh, sure, yeah, but
Yeah.
because for me that scene when he said that to Tim, whereas you don't think you know, I thought some people were suggesting that no, Art would want him brought in. I'm going, no, I don't think Art wants Daryl brought in. I think Art wants Daryl dead.
Yep.
I don't know. Because if you look at what's been the conflict between them this whole season is that he allowed Nikki Augustine
Right.
allowed Nikki Augustine to be dead, and Art's pissed about that.
Yeah, but that's different for me. I think
wasn't
that's
personal.
It wasn't personal.
Right.
That's what he wanted then, because you were complicit in somebody being killed. You didn't do it.
Right.
But this is different. This guy shot me,
Yeah.
and that's why I
Right.
think.
Never mind.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah.
Let whoever gets
All
killed
bets
get
are off
killed.
when that happens.
I have
Now
a
I
new
see
memo.
your point of view.
Yeah. So anyway, but I think that was a great scene, and then of course we had the scene with Winona to let us know that there's still that possibility out there that they might actually have some sort of. I don't know that they'll ever end up together, but they'll.
But some
The
kind of
baby's still
partnership.
alive, Tamara. The baby's still
That
alive.
baby won't die. I've been predicting the baby dying since before she was even born.
Since she's been
Really?
pregnant.
Baby?
Oh, that was
I
baby
know.
death?
Yes,
that was
because I
Amy
thought
is
because it was
cold-blooded. She's the
well,
one who wants
Graham
this baby
Yost is
dead.
cold-blooded. I'm not writing this show.
Apparently not, because he didn't kill a baby.
I don't
baby
know.
will be dead.
I've been on the show 3 seasons. I don't recall any baby murders.
No, that's why it would have been incredibly, amazingly painful and sad, and would really set Raylan off into a whole trajectory. But we're not going there, evidently.
All right, speaking
even
of
though
where
I
we're
keep
going,
saying
let's
we
talk
should.
about next season. So all the arcs we have to. So we're going to resolve. It's just going to end up for me. It's just going to end up with Boyd and Raylan facing off, like we saw in the first time they got together. They're going to be a
Right.
showdown. They're going to shoot.
Well, just back up just a second.
Yeah.
So you're going after Boyd. Why didn't you tell me?
Lovely. Applause break.
Yeah.
What? You're so happy about that? Why didn't you go after him? What are you waiting for?
He didn't know he
Why
was
didn't you
allowed
say
to.
so?
But how about this? That's Rachel's first decision, pretty much, as an acting
right.
Marshal.
Right.
Which is awesome, and I hope that Raylan shows her the level of gratitude that he
Yeah.
should.
And
Yeah,
they gave her
because he's been so helpful and
Grateful.
gracious with
Yeah.
Art.
Yeah.
they gave her a great turn up at Ava's place when she was saying, I'm coming after you, Boyd. She did a very personal
Yeah, she touched
touch on the
his coat.
arm and was just like two friends talking, but you are, and I thought, well, that's
Honey.
good.
Really
Yeah,
invaded his
that's good.
space.
That's good.
It's
Yeah.
like, whoa.
Can
Well, it's
Yeah.
kind of a Catherine Hale moment too. You
Yeah.
know,
Totally.
just the smiles.
Yeah.
and-
Can I make some predictions?
Yeah, that's what we're doing.
Yes, let's do
Okay.
it.
Okay. Let's see. So yeah, we've got Boyd versus Raylan. That's happening. I think we're gonna see Elson Limehouse again before the end of the series.
Oh, I hope so.
yeah, I got
You
it.
can't
Yeah,
just
I think
leave
we
him
will,
out
yeah.
there.
Mags, not so much.
Max, not so much.
Max, no.
Jimmy will be back.
Yes.
Yes.
The body bag.
Oh, don't discount dream sequences.
Yeah. Kendall and or Loretta.
Yeah.
On screen or at the very least name checked.
Or dating.
Or yeah.
Oh, yeah,
Get
maybe.
it together. Distance won't stop them.
No.
I think we'll see Dickie, and I think we'll see Dewey.
Yeah.
I think we'll see Constable Bob.
I think
Oh, we
we'll
better.
get one more
Yeah.
Constable Bob appearance.
Mm-hmm.
Now, here's the big question: do we think that Raylan winds up with Winona in Florida, or does he go down in a hail of gunfire, or does
does
he
he get-
continue
does
to
he
be an
die?
aging cowboy?
I'll
Or
bet
does
the
he
last
open the
scene-
Dairy Queen with Ava?
I'll bet the last scene
He'd be a good
is
Dairy Queen
happen.
manager.
is Raylan taking Winona and the baby to a Dairy Queen.
Right.
No, I'll bet the last thing is just her opening up the door and he's standing there.
I
Who,
think
Winona?
last
Winona opens the door and
Got it.
and
last
Raylan's
image of the
standing.
series, I think it's Raylan at Arlo's grave, and he finally lets himself grieve. That's what I would like. I would like to see him process his stuff, get over some of the anger, and either grieve or like thank him or something.
You know what they're gonna do? He's gonna be at the door. She's gonna open the door. He's gonna be there. And he's gonna be all cocky and everything. And he's gonna pull out of his pocket Pop Rocks. And he's just gonna
And he's
kind
gonna
of
spike the camera and freeze frame roll credits.
yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I can't
made it
see
out
him
of Harlem
thanking
Life.
Arlo, but I can see him trying to put some of that to rest.
Putting it to rest.
I think.
Yeah.
I think in
Maybe
the course
thanking
of
is
it,
too strong.
I mean, I hope he doesn't die. I hope they don't send him out in a
But you
blaze
can
of
see it. I mean,
gunfire.
you can see him going off and
Y-
and-
You
easily.
could see this thing
Right.
ending anyway.
yeah, you could see him
know?
either being killed off or
Which
taking
is-
Boyd
Or
out.
walking off.
Or walking off, exactly.
Yeah.
Oh, what if Boyd and Raylan's last like showdown is at a coal mine because they dug coal together?
No,
Yeah.
they're gonna be in I don't know Bolivia, and they're gonna be running out.
Yeah.
We went to
And they're
Mexico
gonna
this
fade
year.
to black and white.
Yes, that's
and-
right.
Coal
Yeah.
mine.
Like Butch and Sundance.
Yeah.
Is there no poetry in you? Come on.
Sure.
Coal mine.
No, actually, Raylan goes over
someone's
to
gotta-
Boyd's side, and they set up this sting.
No.
Oh.
Someone's got to die because you'll never leave Harlan alive. Someone's gonna die.
Absolutely.
One of the two.
Yep.
Who is it?
I think it's Boyd.
I think it's Boyd.
I think it's Boyd. It's either Boyd or both of them.
Boyd's been on borrowed time since the pilot.
That's true.
He should have been
Every
dead.
episode. That's
yeah.
right.
Ava kills them both. Then she knocks on the door. Winona
Well,
opens
that's
the door.
that's
Yeah.
a bigger question. Will Ava survive?
Yeah, that's a good question.
That is a very good question. I'd like to think Ava kills them both and she sits down to that fried chicken dinner she made for Raylan in the
Never
pilot.
got to eat.
Exactly.
Oh, that's gonna taste nasty though.
Or some combination of one of the three of Art, Tim, and Rachel. Do they all three make it?
Yeah.
Oh boy. I'm
I
gonna
thi-
say
I think Rachel makes
Wow.
I'm gonna say Rachel and Tim make it.
it. Yeah, I do too. I don't think
You know,
Art-
I think it
But not
depends. I think it depends on the mileage you get out of one of their deaths. I know, and I could totally see them setting up Tim.
But see, that's
Yeah.
why I think Art
Yeah.
dies because he's the father figure.
Yeah.
And that was really, really missed. The first time that they're meeting Daryl, Tim, Tim, Raylan, and Rachel.
Mm-hmm.
It really did feel like, hey, shouldn't there be a parent here?
Yeah, I know. Yeah, but you can see Rachel stepping up into that.
Which
Yeah.
is so that,
And then-
it'll be nice to see that more.
And then we all agree, Win Duffy's gone.
He's gone.
He's gonna die in some
think he's gonna die?
great,
But you know, he's a
hilarious,
survivor.
eyebrow-raising way.
and so really, this is the
Eyebrow-raising way.
the final season is just how you stack the dominoes to see
Yeah.
who's going to go down first and in what way.
Yeah, totally.
Right. Right. Well, and obviously there will be bloodbaths,
Yeah.
but with, they can kill as many of the central characters as they want.
Yeah, because they're not gonna die.
because we got nowhere to go after this. But you have to be really careful with that because
Well,
it
they'll
can
bring
create-
some other people in first. They'll kill them off, and so we can hang on to the central figures longer.
Yeah.
I think
That's
Jimmy's
what they'll do.
brother's going to go down there and start
Yeah.
working.
Well, Carl's still around. He's gonna get killed.
Yeah,
yeah.
Carl the shot at bartender?
I don't know if Carl. No, Carl's the guy that got tortured and
Yeah,
said the
exactly.
sex thing and
Yeah.
all that stuff this year. I don't
Oh,
think
there's
he's
also a pop rock guy.
Cyrus.
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 Right,
Yeah.
yeah,
The bartender. What was the bartender's name? Oh, Caleb.
The guy-
Caleb.
Caleb.
God, he was
This
This
great.
is the worst job in the world.
I was there on the day that he was doing. They were doing the scene where he's tied up on the ground,
Yeah.
and Raylan and Miller come in and they ask him a thing, and then they leave, and he
Yeah.
starts just squirming
Yeah, yeah,
around.
yeah.
The whole crew was laughing so hard. They were just like, just do another one. Just keep going. Just do
Yeah.
whatever you want. And he was so great.
Oh my
That's
God.
awesome.
We have to
What the
wrap it up
hell
'cause
kind
we-
of place
we-
is this?
We want to talk a little bit more about specifically what Jesse's up to and what's going on.
Yeah.
What else? So, is there anything else we want to wrap about this season? Because
No.
I'd
Nope.
like to move on to that. Great.
No.
So
Let's
we'll
talk-
turn to
let's
you.
talk about Jesse.
Let's talk about what else you're doing. You got Star-Crossed. We have a movie that you.
Yeah.
Tell us about that.
Well, the movie's called The Guest. It's just played at Sundance. Adam Wingard directed it. It stars Dan Stevens, who was on Downton Abbey
Yes.
for a long
Yeah,
time.
absolutely.
It's
Played
really-
Matthew.
played
Yes.
Matthew. It's a really fun movie. It's a great movie.
Comedy? What is it?
No, it's Adam Wingard just did You're Next, which was
Okay.
the
Oh
horror
yeah,
film
this
that
is the one
everybody
where
got.
he's an assassin or something.
He comes back from the military from a war into a family that had lost a son there, and he introduces himself as one of the son's fellow soldiers, and he said that I made a promise to your son that I would come in and take care of his family, and so they bring him into the house, and then he's not as nice as he
I'm
seems
sure.
to be. Adam Wingard's one of the mumblecore guys, but they do a lot of the sort of thriller, psychological thriller kind of things, and so this falls in line with that, and it's a great film.
Great.
And then Star-Crossed.
It was at Sundance, right?
It was at Sundance. Just
Well
played at
received.
Sundance.
Everybody loved it.
Yeah,
Sure.
people loved it.
Yeah,
I
good.
think, they're
Great.
all about it.
Kudos.
And then Star-Crossed is just pretty much just like Justified.
Oh, okay, great.
Yeah, it's great. It's
So you die on that one too?
it's coming. It's epic alien high school teen romance.
Yeah.
Okay.
Just like Justified.
Yeah.
Just like
it.
Justified.
Absolutely.
So it's very easy to transition between the two.
Totally
I see
different
that.
vibe. The sets run differently. And
Oh,
was it
totally
easy?
different
Yeah?
vibe. Well, yeah. I mean, first of all, it's season 1, and Justified, at
Yeah.
this point is an oiled
Well,
machine, and it's you see that on a lot of season 1s. Not that it's not a critique of it. It's just like everybody's trying to figure each other out. We shot in New Orleans. That was, a lot of fun.
Yeah. Okay.
To get.
How was your downtime?
It was not very down. There was, you'd go to set and it'd be like 5 a.m. You'd go, and people are still partying. People are like hammered outside your hotel, yelling at you. And you're like, I'm going to work, man. Like, it's Tuesday. What are you doing? And that's just the way.
They're like, I got 4 hours before I got to sober up.
And then the worst thing is the food down there. It's wonderful food and it's booze all the time. But you're on CW, so at any moment they're going to ask you to take your shirt off. And you gotta, you go out and you try to eat healthy, and you'd be like,
it's
"Oh, the
tough.
grilled fish," and they're like, "Yeah, sure." And there's like a pound of butter on it, and there's like
Beignets
a bunch of
and-
bacon and served in a donut.
And
Yeah,
it's delicious.
It's delicious. I mean, it is wonderful. If I had to gain weight for a roll, that'd
That's
be
where
the
you
place
go.
to go.
So when does the show air? It airs on Mondays?
Monday nights, 8 o'clock.
Monday
CW.
nights at
Are
8
you
o'clock.
are you still shooting that right
No,
now?
we finished. We actually shot all of them before the first one even aired.
So what are you doing with your off time?
Oh man.
Eating bacon and donuts and
It was. I mean, there was a lot of We'd have to. It's season 1 of that show, so there's a lot of
Oh,
promotion
yeah, yeah.
that goes involved. And I started as such a lackey on Justified. They didn't care what I did about promoting the show or anything like that. They don't care. All that stuff. I have a bigger part on that show, so more responsibility.
Yep.
And you got to promote the show, which of course I'm happy to do. But then it's like any actor. You're trying to find the next
find the
damn
next
job.
job. Okay.
Now you had mentioned on CW they're going to probably want to take your shirt off.
Yes.
Does that
Yeah.
happen often in this show?
It's
And do you want to do it right now?
Tamara.
That was really a question for Tamara.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
All right.
It's funny the way that they just and the guys are the worst. I love all my castmates to death, but the girls are like, yeah, sure, whatever, and the guys are like, well, when are we doing it? Well, they're like, I don't know. Are you sure it's a good idea? And they're like doing sit-ups in the corner by themselves, push-ups, trying to get themselves all jacked up. Oh, when I did 42, and we had a shower scene in that, and it was embarrassing. I was like, look at you guys, this is embarrassing. Everyone was doing push-ups and pull-ups in between takes, waiting for the scene. I was like, give me a break. What is the matter with
think
you?
that's
But
great.
hey, it's guys.
Yeah.
Yeah,
All right.
no, absolutely.
Some good inside skinny for you,
There
Tamara.
it is. Skinny indeed.
All right. So what else? Do we have any questions? Anybody? Anything else you want to talk about?
I'm good.
We're good?
I think we've covered
All right.
it
Well,
very
we certainly
thoroughly.
have covered
We've gone way over time.
I
The
know.
clock stopped.
Well,
That's
this
how
time we
far
got a
we've gone
chance to-
Oh, good.
over.
We broke the clock.
We did. We broke the clock.
Well, first of all, I
Yay.
want to thank you for being able to be
Thank
here.
you,
We
absolutely.
appreciate
Good
it so
job.
much. Jacob was here last week. Unfortunately, he came in late, so we didn't get to spend a lot of time with him. But
Oh,
Yeah.
you didn't miss anything.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay, we'll let him know. He'll come back.
I don't know. I thought the deer in headlights was kind of fun to watch.
Jacob, do you ever see Jacob does improv? And I saw him do improv.
I've done improv, which that's how
Really?
I met him.
Oh,
he
man.
came and did my improv show, and I was like, dude, do you know that I do this podcast? And he's like, what's a podcast?
Wow, you do it at UCB?
I've taken UCB.
Okay.
I host an indie show on Friday nights.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
I just saw him do ASCAT at UCB.
Oh, man.
And it was like, I'll just tell it real quick. These celebrities come out and they do a monologue, and then they do improv based on the monologue, and then he comes out and does another. Like, it's just tell a story, right? It's just like, here's a suggestion, tell a story. And so it'd be like, carrot. And then Jacob is all of a sudden talking about like an acid trip where he like spent the night in a moose's corpse. And I'm like, Jake, stop admitting this. Stop. Like, you realize this is a room
is the
full of
forum.
people.
This is the forum for it.
That's Jacob.
Yeah, man.
Love the guy.
Cool.
We didn't get that Jacob last week.
No, we didn't. That was not Jacob who showed up.
Oh, maybe I
In
shouldn't
deference to him, no, it wasn't that at all. It's just that unfortunately because he wasn't able to get here because of traffic, etc.
Yeah.
So he came right in the middle of this.
I think
and-
It's a
we could've-
very different
Had we
experience
had more
for him.
time, I think we could have
Yeah,
gotten to that.
absolutely.
He didn't want to
could
start
have.
out with acid trip.
No,
Right.
no.
Right.
So, and had we
That's
had the
not
chance
a good
to
way
sit-
to introduce yourself to a
No,
room
so
of people.
but we didn't want to put him on the spot either. So it was our choice to allow him to ease into it. And,
Yeah,
but just
we had
didn't
a
have
great
the
time with him, though.
He was terrific. And again, thank you so much for coming
Yes,
on.
Thank
Love
you.
to
It's
hear
my
what you're
pleasure.
doing.
All right.
And we so
Well-
appreciate your insight.
Last chance to take your shirt off if you want to.
Yeah, if you don't give me time, and there's the thing, are you sure? We want
Yeah,
to do this?
you want to do
Or
some
you can
push-ups
do it
first? Some
after.
pull-ups first?
You know.
I'm tired of asking these guys.
Before we go, let everybody know where they can find you.
Where they can find me?
On Twitter.
On Twitter. Oh,
Your
yeah, that whole
social media thing.
I'm basically Amish with this kind of crap. It's at Jesse Luken. It's just my name.
Jesse Luken, there you
JESSELUKEN.
go. And it's been a pleasure seeing you on the show, and it's certainly a pleasure having you here. Thank you again.
Thank you all very
Where can I
much.
find you, Matt?
All right, you can find me on Twitter at Matt Lieberman, MattLieberman. You can also find all my video content on my YouTube channel, youtube.com/Matthew D. Lieberman. It's got all of my AfterBuzz source-fed videos and sketches and shows coming up in the spring. I got Mad Men coming back, Orphan Black on BBC America, Playing House on USA is a great comedy premiering at the end of the month. Lots of things coming this summer, so stay tuned.
Wow. Bottomley Steven at Twitter, and check out bandcamp.com. The band is Bears and You. Check it out, please.
I made cupcakes.
Yeah.
I'm at Tamara Berg on Twitter, TamaraBerg. And my website is tamaracentral.com. Check it out.
Hey, do you happen to savor a champagne bottle?
I know how to savor champagne bottles. Want to know what it's
Sweet.
like? Check out my website.
I have the same Twitter account as Jacob Pitts.
Yes, you do.
Tune in for next season here at
It's been an
AfterBuzz TV
amazing
for
season.
Justified Season 6. Thanks for listening. We'll
Thanks,
talk to you next
everybody.
time.
Bye.
Executive producers Maria Menounos and listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
Buzz you later.
Views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.
Thank you for watching AfterBuzz TV on YouTube. For more of your favorite after shows and interviews, subscribe to our channel here, and be sure to share your opinion on the episode in the comment section below here. We'd love to see what you guys are buzzing about. Thanks again. Buzz you later.